Welcome back. It was this newspaper report in the Indian Express which said, and I'm reading this, Bhushans get 2 prime-time farmhouse plots from Mayawati government for a song. And if I may just repeat what is written in the first line of this debate, before I go into the debate, let me first welcome my participants tonight. After a long time coming back on the news are Vinod Mehta, welcome. Swapan Dasgupta, great to have you with us tonight. Meenakshi Lekhi, thank you very much for coming. You have strong views on the Bhushans. Welcome you on the panel. Mahesh Jethmalani, welcome. We'll have a robust debate, but before that I want to read out the first part of this article. It said, the political class may be evil and corrupt, but that's whom Shanti Bhushan and his son Jayant Bhushan turn to when they want a farmhouse each for a song. And this whole article goes on and talks about how 10,000 square meters of a farmland plot has been given away in a totally arbitrary way. In case you haven't followed the story, here's a one-line summary. An arbitrary, questionable disbursement of massive amounts of land that has tremendous commercial value in a place like Noida, just on the outskirts of New Delhi, given away for an absolutely unbelievable discount under questionable circumstances to Shanti Bhushan and his son Jayant Bhushan. These are the leading lights of the India Against Corruption movement. They say it's not our fault. We have many questions over that issue. Let me first ask you, Vinod Mehta, what do you think now this should be done in this story? Should the Bhushans, given all this that has emerged, step down or at least explain their stand publicly?
Well, Arnab, what is happening at the moment is a very sad commentary on Indian democracy. You see, as soon as the CD controversy lost steam, it was clearly a fake. We had this land scam has now appeared. Now there is still some clarity to be obtained over there, which will be obtained in 24 hours or 48 hours. But I assure you, if the land scam does not stick, the next day another scam will come up somewhere. So what you're seeing is an attempt, a pretty successful attempt, I think, to destroy the moral authority of the committee. And the moral authority of the committee came from its support of the people. And the end effort is to ensure that this drafting committee has no power and a toothless Lokpal Bill is produced.
So
I'm very sad to say, I'm not defending the Bhushans. I mean, this land thing, if they should step down if it is proved they've taken this land. But at the moment, there is not enough clarity in this. But I ask you to also consider, please, the timing of all these things. As soon as the controversy CD thing, this comes up. So I think there is a clear purpose behind this campaign. And if it is proved that the Bhushans have done something wrong in the case of the land, I hold no defense for them. They should step down. But we should see the other design also, and we can't ignore that design.
Well, I must point out, I mean, no questions about the timing, Vinod Mehta. The timing is suspect, it is deliberate, it is aimed at anonymously trying to destroy the whole movement against corruption, at least take away its principal legal players. But they have admitted they have taken the land. Swapan Dasgupta. They have said we were surprised when we got the allotment letters. We knew there is no transparency, but why should we challenge it? Is that an explanation you'll buy?
Well, Arnab, I would tend to agree with Vinod Mehta up to a point. I think there's no doubt that the Congress party in particular doesn't have its full-fledged political commitment to this Lokpal Bill or General Lokpal Bill, call it whatever you want to. And therefore they are trying to establish a certain moral equivalence between the political class, or should I say moral disrepute between the political class as well as those so-called civil society activists. And by muddying the waters, they seem to have partially succeeded. Even if the CD turned out to be a complete hoax of the St. Kitts dimension, there are some questions which come about. And the most relevant question which your channel has raised is the issue as if such a transaction had taken place involving, say, a judge or a senior bureaucrat, what would be the conclusions? We would have treated it with a degree of utmost suspicion. despite the fact that the Bhushans probably have some answers to some of those questions. But the sheer circumstances under which the whole transactions were affected, causes very questions to ask. However, the question which is to be there is, are we establishing the principle of let him who has not sinned cast the first stone? Is this going to be the basis on which an entire law which covers governmental corruption going to be decided? Now the Bhushans will probably have an answer or not have an answer. They may step down or they may not step down. I don't think that any longer is the relevant point. The point is also to ensure that the larger fight against corruption, the spontaneous outburst in which we saw during Anna Hazare's fast, is not allowed to be dissipated, because we saw an example of ordinary citizens' angers, and I think that anger is far more important than the misdeeds if any, of the Bhushans. And I think the government cannot at any circumstances be allowed to get away with trying to inject a mood of cynicism into this whole thing.
Well, there can
therefore,
be...
what needs to be done is there. Therefore, if to destroy that cynicism, it means the Bhushans should step down, so be it.
Well, tonight they are being very rigid. They are refusing to step down. Meenakshi Lekhi was among those cynics. Mr. Jethmalani, coming to you right out. I just want a contrary voice. I remember on the day when this whole Lokpal movement was successful, or appeared to have been successful, Meenakshi Lekhi was totally cynical, especially about the Bhushans. Hence, I want your perspective on this tonight. I want your perspective on this entire controversy tonight, the CD that emerged, this whole business of this land allotment that has emerged now. Meenakshi Lekhi, what do you make of it? Where is the debate going?
Arnab, the first clarification is, I was not disillusioned by Bhushan, but I was disillusioned by Sonia Gandhi's stance. Number one, I was cynical about the whole movement, in the sense that your channel was talking about one scam after the other scam, and there was a whole lot of anger built up amongst public about corruption issues. Now, with this particular moment being captured by a movement, actually took away the issue from corruption, number one. Number two, Lokpal Bill became the primary instigation point. Now it is, the focus is on Bhushans. I was not talking about Bhushans, but I was talking about corruption per se, and I was talking about institutionalization which Congress regime has done to the issue of corruption. Number two, the point I was making is that if we want to correct the corruption aspect in the system, then we need to set up strong institutions, and only those institutional mechanisms can correct those steps. If one Hassan Ali is made to speak as to from where he has procured this money and who are the people responsible to fund this gentleman, then I think one case, or Boffer's money was to be brought back to this country, will solve the issue of corruption. So you need to basically make examples out of people. You need to give face to the issue of corruption.
Meenakshi,
yes.
tonight the raging controversy is over the Bhushans. What in your view should they do? Should they hang on? Do you feel if they go, the entire movement will lose a crucial edifice?
No, I think